everyone, it's Yamina. I hope you all are doing well. I hope this video sounds clear and everything, but I just want to do a quick story time. And to start off the story, I would like to give a little bit of information that I think is kind of funny. But um, at least 2 or 3 times when I thought somebody was either flirting with me or I was feeling uncomfortable because they were in my personal space in a public area, I told them, oh, you look like this relative or that relative of mine, and it would catch them off guard. And the thing is, I wasn't saying it to get them to stop like flirting with me or invading my personal space. I said it because it was actually true for me, and it worked out for that circumstance, that it put the guys off guard, and they were just like, oh, okay, I don't want to talk to her anymore. So one person, he actually reminded me of my father, and he wanted to sit at a bus stop bench right next to me, and I was just like, this is weird, like there's a million other bus stops. And I told him yes, but I think I got up after a while, and I told him that he looked like my father, and he was kind of caught off guard, so that was funny. Another time, a guy, he was at a deli at the supermarket. This was years ago. He was at a deli, and he was just like saying something. I said something to him because I needed his help with something, and he was like, oh, kind of like flirtatious a little bit, and I was just like, you look like my cousin. Like, he literally looked like one of my cousins on my mom's side to me. And so he was like, cousin, and I was just like, yeah. But I don't, he looked, to me, he looked like he was mixed. My cousins are biracial, and yeah, he looked like my cousin to me. So he is kind of confused, and I thought that was funny. And I can't remember the third person. So that that's just the setup for the story I have to tell, which is not related to somebody trying to flirt with me, thank goodness. But in the beginning of this year, it was like the first week into January, I was working by myself at my workplace, and I didn't have to help with any customers, but I did expect some packages from UPS that were personal packages of mine that I had delivered to my workplace. So I was like keeping a good ear and eye out for UPS showing up while I was still trying to work. And I finally like heard UPS pop up, and I was like, where are they? So then I went to our normal location to get UPS. They weren't there. And then I went to the front door and opened the door, which was locked, and I saw the guy outside, and I was like, wait a minute. So we caught each other's attention for him not to leave without giving me my packages, because he didn't, I think he didn't read a note on the door or something, because I think I left a note on the door and he didn't read it. So he's about to leave. So I caught him. So something that I don't like doing because of how advanced technology is I try not to like let my last name be known everywhere, because people are like creepy, and they could like look you up and stuff. And I've Googled myself before, and it kind of like shocked me. So I don't want everybody to have like over access to me besides like what I try to post. And so UPS knows my last name because they're trying to deliver. I was the only person there. So, and I'm sorry about that long backstory, but anyway, so I try not to get my last name out publicly, and I looked up the stats of my last name to see how widely it is used, and it's not an uncommon last name. But anyway, so the UPS guy said to me, oh, who has this last name here? And I was like, oh, that's mine. I'm waiting for those packages. And he was like, what? And to me, he looked mixed too. And if I haven't said this in a previous video before, when I say someone looks mixed to me, it means to me that I recognize that they are more than likely more than one race, more than one ethnicity. And that could be whether they have African ancestry or not. To me, I can sometimes tell when someone's mixed, when whether they have African ancestry or not. But anyway, that's what he looked mixed like to me with. And so he was like, that's my family's name. And I was just like, oh, no way. And I told him that I have multiple family members with that last name as well, cousins and siblings and extra sets of cousins with that last name as well. And he was like, no way. He's like, do you think we're related or something? I was like, actually, and I told him this backstory that I might end up sharing with you all, but I told him that technically the last name that I have, I'm not supposed to have it because it is the last name of my actual biological grandfather on my mom's side. And my grandpa who passed away is actually not my biological grandpa. So I don't have his last name. Most of the, like, only one, two, three, only three of my relatives have my grandpa's last name. The grandpa that just passed away, my auntie, my grandma, and him. And so the last name that I have is actually not the last name I was supposed to get. My actual biological grandpa has a different last name than the actual last name I have. It's a convoluted story. And so I was I was telling this to the UPS guy, and I was like, you might be related to my cousins. They have relations to people from the Caribbean as well with the same last name as well. So you might have relations, like a relation, a familial relation with my cousins, but I don't think that we are related. Because yeah, technically the last name I have, I wasn't supposed to have it. So I hope that made sense. But yeah, so that was the first time that it was possible that I was related to someone. Could be, but he could be possibly related to my cousins. And he wasn't trying to flirt with me. Like right away, he was just like, "Whose last name is that?" And are we related? And I told him I'm from New York City, and he's actually from like the Midwest, I think. So yeah, so I don't know that we would be related. I was just like, ooh, I don't know about that. So yeah, it's kind of a common last name. I don't know a lot of people with the last name personally, but whenever I hear people with the last name, whether they are white or black, I'm just like, ooh, I wonder if we could be. So anyway, that's the end of my story. I just wanted to share that really quick because I thought it was cute. Okay, talk to you later. Bye.